geeks, Chris here, and in this video we are looking at a couple of figures from the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon collection, specifically the figures based on the 2000s cartoon. And we've also got 3 figures from Mattel Creations' recent Black Friday sale, so 5 figures in total to look at. Let's get straight to it. Mattel Creations is a relatively new website. I think it's probably a year or 2 old, and it's basically a way for Mattel to sell exclusive figures to those who are really fans, not available to the public. They always come in these pretty cool brown boxes from Mattel Creations, you can see there, and some of the figures have this cue dramatic box opening music, which is very cool. They also have a bit of a sneak peek of what's inside, a bit of a silhouette of the figure. So there's Hero and his accessory. And this one is Red Shadow and his accessories. I wasn't going to get to Geldor initially. You can see new for 24, so this figure's been out for quite some time. He looks like a simple barbarian, and he comes with a mini comic that explains him and his story. But because it was cheaper, I thought I would grab it. It's wonderful embossed artwork on the back. And obviously all of these Mattel Creations figures come with collector-friendly packaging, and what that means is you can slip them out, take them out of the box, play with them, and then put them straight back in, slip the card in, and it's like you've never played with it at all. So you don't have to tear the packaging, so that's always a nice feature. You can see that it's got the familiar exploding red rocks on the background there, and like most of the new Motu figures say, modern opposing retro play. So let's have a look at this mohawk wielding, axe wielding, shield wielding, sword wielding Geldor guy. As with all of the modern Motu figures, he comes with a mini comic. This one's got a bit more of a cartoony kind of style that they usually come with, but it basically just tells you his story there. And here is the figure himself. I'm liking the actual head sculpt. Looks pretty good. Kind of got a Mr. T kind of vibe going on. And you can see he's pretty much all in one colour or 2 different shades of red, a more maroon kind of colour for his gloves, his undies, and his boots, and then we've got the kind of the red armour and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. I don't think this actual body armour has been used on any other figure, so I think that might be a new sculpt, and the same with the head, that hasn't been used before. All the Motu figures are removable. Well, they have removable parts. You can take his head off, and his waist and all that kind of stuff, and if you want to, you can take the little skirt piece and harness off as well, just to give him a bit more of a barbarian kind of look, I guess. They've all got the same articulation that we all come to know and expect from these modern Motu figures, and he comes with a whole bunch of accessories, a surprising number of accessories actually. So he's got 1 shield and 3 axes, which is very impressive. So the shield is the familiar one that just kind of goes over the wrist, and he holds it in one hand as well. These are all painted in one colour, all different axes, and I believe these 2 can actually fit together. Yep, certainly looks like it. So you can have a bit of a Darth Maul double-bladed kind of thing going on there, so that's nice. And this axe will look familiar to those who read Absolute Batman, the new very popular DC comic that launched a few months ago, which is basically a new interpretation of Batman, and he's got an axe very similar to this. Yes, Batman is running around with an axe. So yeah, it's kind of like a snow shovel, but also an axe, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, very simple figure, very obscure character, Geldor. Now we move on to the other 2 figures I got recently from Mattel Creations, and they're both from the Powers of Grayskull line. The Powers of Grayskull was a line from 1987. It was a spin-off line towards the end of the Masters of the Universe toy line. There wasn't really a bunch of figures released. There was supposed to be a couple of dinosaurs. There were a couple of giants, which are released only in Europe, and they're very hard to find, very expensive. Hero was one of the figures that was announced but never released, because unfortunately Motu was kind of failing by the late 80s, and then it was eventually kind of revived by the movie starring Dolph Lundgren and the later New Adventures of He-Man, which is more of a sci-fi twist. So these 2 figures are brand new. They're pretty awesome. Hero has been released in Masters of the Universe Classics a few years ago in the 2000s, also by Mattel, and also recently by Super 7. And this is the Master of the Universe Origins figure. So he's basically an ancestor of He-Man in the land of Preternia, which is like the prehistory of Eternia. And this guy, Red Shadow, I don't know anything about him. I don't think he's ever been released. But yeah, they look pretty awesome, don't they? So a new font, obviously, with the subline, the Powers of Grayskull, just like it would have looked in, or did look in the 80s. We've got this awesome kind of skull here, and we've got the green glow and the purple and pinky kind of stuff. I love this, just the packaging is amazing. And these are slip covers, so also collector-friendly packaging. And we turn them over, we've got some wonderful box art, just some side shots of the characters on there. On the other side we have different artwork, which is very cool. And then on the back we've got some wonderful artwork as well, with the Club Grayskull in the corner there, which is basically you pay a membership fee, I think annual, and you get first dibs on when these types of figures are released on Mattel Creations. So you always have an opportunity to get them before they go out for a wider release. So some absolutely fun and fantastic action-oriented art on the side and on the back of the packaging. I always say in these videos, Mattel goes all out when it comes to packaging, which is awesome to see. But anyway, these are collector-friendly packaging. I'm a collector. These look friendly, and so am I. Let's open them up. It seems fitting to start with Hero, the hero of the line, the Powers of Grayskull line. So he just comes in this wonderful yellow box. The comic is behind him, and this wonderful little box with a bit of I don't know, a bit of tech and a bit of archaeology kind of stuff. It looks like something out of Indiana Jones. Just open that up, and that's got the accessories, or accessory, in a little bag inside, which is just his little staff thing. So we'll open that up, and this is a staff which all hero figures come with. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this opens up, and yeah, maybe there's an action feature that I'm missing or something. Anyway, let's have a bit of a see what other paperwork is around, and maybe it'll explain what this thing is. The cool Masters of the Universe figures. He comes with a comic, which is pretty cool, and basically just tells his story, including, you know, with burden comes meaning, from meaning comes purpose, and with purpose, power. Kind of reminds me of what Yoda said in one of the Star Wars prequel films. But yes, you can see Hero's story there, and his staff doesn't have a button or anything to unleash the opening. You just kind of pull the four little things down here. I mean, you do have to be a bit careful, but you'll just reveal the gem inside. I believe when the Master Universe Classics released their version of this character for the first time, there was different color gems. There was like a green, a blue, and a red or something, maybe a yellow, and you didn't know what you were getting until you opened it. Or, yeah, everything was the same except the gem was just a different color, so completists would have to buy multiple versions, I guess. But yes, that's his staff. It's pretty detailed, I guess, all done in one color, and it's got a handle obviously for him to hold. So instead of a sword, he gets a staff. And here is the figure himself with some lovely shiny vac metal. Let's just shine some light on that just to see how shiny it is. So he's got vac metal on his boots and his chest. You don't see a lot of vac metal on today's action figures. He's got a wonderful side parting. When back in my younger days when I had hair, I would certainly wear my hair like that. And he's got a cape which isn't fabric, but you can just take his head off like you can with all the Masters of the Universe Origins figures. His limbs are removable as well as his chest as well. If you really want to have some nasty battles, you can decapitate them. So yes, the cape just comes off. It doesn't have anything on the back, but yeah, it's got all the standard articulation that we come to expect from Masters of the Universe Origins figures, and just the vac metal goes all the way around, which is just lovely to see. So yes, this is the hero of Preternia, and a very rare figure. Back in the day, well, they didn't make him, so now he's had, I think, 3 versions. So I've got the Super 7 version, which first came out a few years ago. That was one of the first figures I believe I bought when I started collecting toys again as an adult, you know, about 5-6 years ago. I don't know where he is at the moment. He's in a box in a tub somewhere, but there we go. So from Mattel Creations, I got this cheap on the Black Friday sale. Hero. Okay, so I don't know anything about this red shadow guy. Is he a goodie? Is he a baddie? I'm not sure. He's kind of got a Mossman kind of vibe, jungle warrior about him. Got a vine and some, you know, brown fur kind of loincloth and boots and little pouches and stuff. So it looks like an interesting character. And he's got a mask as well. And again, just like the hero figure, comes in the familiar Powers of Grayskull colours and packaging. Slip that out. And he's got the accessory box on the top, and he comes with a few more accessories, which is great to see. Lovely artwork on the side as always. And yeah, here he is. Let's have a closer look. He's got quite an interesting look here, the red shadow. So he clearly has the same mold, same body as Beastman, with the fur, with the claws, and the slightly longer arms. He's all in one colour, which is kind of this blue-grey kind of colour. He's got the wolf kind of mask, and as I said, the vine and a couple of pouches there, and some little forest-made ankle bootlet kind of things. He also comes with the comic, as all us universe characters do, which is called Shadow of the Wolf, and it's actually a pretty interesting story. There's some pretty dynamic artwork. So we've got this guy here is the Great Black Wizard, so hopefully we get a figure of him one day. But yeah, his origin story is here. Basically, he worked for the Great Black Wizard, training his wolves, and he kind of turned against them. The wizard set the wolves against him, against their former master, and then kind of merged one of the wolves into him. So he's basically, this guy is a mix of wolf and man. He met Shirella, who also just had a figure released from Mattel Creations, this barbarian kind of lady, and we've got some cameos there from Hero, who we just looked at, and Eldor, his mentor, we've also had a figure of, and some Snake Men, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Powers of Grayskull line as well, which is pretty awesome. So I like that they still keep the tradition going of throwing the mini comics in, because back in the 80s, that's how we learnt a lot of the early Master Universe lore that started and continued and expanded from the Filmation cartoon back in the day. Let's open this box and see the goodies inside. Just like Hero, the accessories are in a little bag. I know the G.I. Joe classified line does this as well, and so do the Masterverse figures. They have a little compartment where all the accessories are stored, so if you do open some of your modern action figures, don't throw away all the packaging, because you could be throwing away some accessories. So yes, he comes with quite a few accessories. So let's get them all out of the package here. I think there's a couple more. Is that everything? Okay, cool. So he comes with a little club. It's just done in a couple of different colours, a lighter green and a darker green, which is awesome. Focus. Comes with a little dagger, which looks like he can put in the little space on his pouch there. Comes with a cool little spear, done in 3 colours, grey, green and brown, which is awesome. And then it does call in the warrior and the Iron Mask, so this is the Iron Mask. Reminds me of that Leonardo DiCaprio film. Remember that? The Man in the Iron Mask back in the 90s. Finally, we're going to look at these two figures, which are different from the Mattel Creations figures that we just looked at. These are from the cartoon collection, and the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon that ran for a couple of seasons in the early 2000s. So these designs are based on the cartoon of that animated series. So yes, different designs than with the 80s figures that we're used to. Same font and all that kind of stuff. And these are available at Kmart and Big W here in Australia for $19 each. And they've got some art on the background. I think these are the European or international variants, because there's no text or anything like that talking about the play features. It's just got the photo, just got the artwork, which is more comic artwork on the back, and the character names, and that's all you get. And on Man-at-Arms card, we've got Beastman, Trapjaw, Evelyn and Prince Adam. I did see Evelyn as well, because that completes this wave of 3 figures, but I left her behind because I thought Mossman and Man-at-Arms looked the best. Let's turn them around and open them up. This is the second wave of figures based on the 2000s cartoon, and you can see that video on my channel as well. And just like that, they come with the little pamphlet showing you which parts of the figures are removable. Unfortunately, due to Mattel's cost cutting, I guess, they only come with 1 accessory each, and they don't come with a mini comic, which is a bit disappointing, but that's okay. So Mossman, I just love the green colours on him, and the fact that he's got like little tendrils and stuff kind of hanging off his body, which is just delightful. So yes, very, very vibrant. And it's got one single accessory, which is the club, and you might see that that looks very familiar because it's the same club as what we just looked at for the red shadow. It's all done in one color. There is a beast man also in this line. From the first line, he's a bit of a chunkier deluxe figure. I don't have him, I probably won't get him, but yes, very poseable, all that kind of stuff, removable parts as I said, and he certainly looks like a Mossman. Most Mossman figures that we've received in the past are flocked, like, you know, that means the furry kind of texture. He certainly doesn't, just a standard plastic figure, but a pretty cool looking character nonetheless. And then Man at Arms has got the familiar beats with the orange and the greens, and I like the kind of furry brown around here, and the club, and that's just all in grey. And you'll notice that it's got the swivel wrist, so much like He-Man, he can hold it aloft, so he's got the hinge which allows him to hold it up like that, which is great. And this thing, which is huge, it doesn't get in the way. You can see that it's just got a bit of a hinge there, so, and it's a very soft, pliable plastic. Great design really of this Man at Arms. Got more of the techie kind of feel with the, looks like bionic parts on him. It does make me want to watch the 2000s cartoon again, because these redesigns are just fantastic. A nice collection of mainstream Masters of the Universe characters and more obscure characters that haven't really had the spotlight in action figure form before. So very happy that I could find the front two at Kmart and the back three of the Mattel Creations Black Friday sale. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Let me know which of these 5 was your favourite. I would probably say Hero is my favourite and Red Shadow is a close second. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Goodbye, geeks.